I'm Viet Thanh Nguyen, author of Nothing Ever Dies, Vietnam and the Memory of War. I was born in Vietnam, but made in America. I count myself among those Vietnamese dismayed by America's deeds, but tempted to believe in its words. I also count myself among those Americans who often do not know what to make of Vietnam and want to know what to make of it. Americans, as well as many people the world over, tend to mistake Vietnam with a war aimed at dishonor or dishonor, as the case may be. This confusion has no doubt led to some of my own uncertainties about what it means to be a man with two countries, as well as the inheritor of two revolutions. Today, the Vietnamese and American revolutions manufacture memories, only to solve the hardening of their arteries. For those of us who consider ourselves to be inheritors of one or both of these revolutions, or who have been influenced by them in some way, we have to know how we make memories and how we forget them, so that we can keep our hearts back to life. That is the project, or at least the hope, of this book. That's from the beginning of the book, and now I'm going to read from the end. Remembering and forgetting entwined together, a double helix making us who we are, one never without the other. I want to remember, but so much has been forgotten or silenced. My own personal memory is faulty. Through my youth, I had a memory of soldiers firing from our boat onto another boat as we floated on the South China Sea. I was 4. My brother, 7 years older, says the shooting never happened. As an adult, I remember my mother being hospitalized when I was a child. A few years ago, when I discovered a memoir that I had written in college, I read in my own words that she was in the hospital at that time, not years before. Her illness in that strange ward with its mumbling patients had made me feel like I was a frightened child. That feeling was what I remembered. After my father's pointless to ask him about the past, his relationship to the past is to muffle it, at least in my presence. Although I visited his homeland, I've never visited my own origin, the town where I was born, because he has forbidden it. More than once he has said to me, "You can never go back there." Too many people will remember him and persecute me, or so he believes. I think of what the cartoonist Art Spiegelman said of his father, who survived the Holocaust. "I hadn't a clue," Spiegelman says, "as to how to find the places my father had been telling me he grew up in, and he wasn't of much help, except to tell us not to go at all, because they killed Jews there." Using the present tense, they killed Jews there, don't go. He was afraid for us. Like Spiegelman's father, my own must believe in rememories that do not die, those demonic menaces that retain their fatal force. And while I disobey my father in many things, I cannot in this one thing. The paternal injunction is too strong, the specter of the unknown past too unsettling. What is it that he remembers of this place? What will he not tell me? What if he is right? This absence as a forbidding presence is the opposite of memory. Perhaps some things will never be remembered and yet also never forgotten. Perhaps some things will remain unspoken and yet always heard. Perhaps I will only visit where I was born after my father has passed on. Then it will be too late to see what it is he remembers, remembering having at last expired. This is the paradox of the past, of trauma, of loss, of war. A true war story where there is no ending but the unknown, no conversation except that which cannot be finished. I think back to my father's father and what happened to his remains. The Vietnamese believe a person should be buried twice. The first time, in a field removed from home and village, the earth eats the flesh. The second time, the survivors must disinter what remains. If they have timed it correctly, there will only be bones. If they have timed it wrong, there will still be flesh. Regardless of what they find, they must wash the bones with their own hands. Then they bury the bones once more, this time closer to the living. Thank you.